How are things going?
Uh, I don't know, just been kind of, I guess, up and down about probably the past week and a half or so, around there.
Tell me a little bit. What do you mean up and down?
Just getting into issues with a couple of my friends, and it's just, it irritates me, and then it just really tends to piss me off when I think about it. Like, in the moment it won't, like, I'm just more bothered by it, but then when I think about it, then I'm just, it gets kind of worse from there.
And you said, tell me a little bit about what's been going on that's caused you to become irritated.
Well, a couple of my friends while ago, they all had moved over to LA, so we don't live in the same town or anything. We stay in contact. Well, I try to anyway. I try to text them. I rarely get responses, or they don't really respond to me, or just text me. So occasionally, they're like, "Hey, come down," and I'm like, "Okay, well, when I get the chance, I'll let you know." And when I do get the chance, they're busy. So then they're kind of like, "Oh, well, I can't this weekend, or I can't this day." So I'm like, "Okay." And then when they do say, "Oh yeah, you can come down," then I can't. So it's like conflicting issues or schedules, I guess. And then so I've gone down a couple of times already with my mom, and it's like I'm going for like a business, I guess, type thing. Like I'm going to either pick up food, or I have to go to the airport, or I'm just dropping something off at like family's house. And so when they find out, then they start kind of like attacking me, and they're kind of like, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" And like, what the f and all this stuff. So I'm just like, okay, they really don't want to deal with this. You guys don't even tell me when you come to town, because they've come to town plenty of times, and they visit their family, and then they have hangouts all together, but they won't invite me. So I don't. It's just really, when I think about it, it really angers me.
Mm-hmm. Um, you mentioned that these friends don't um, that they don't keep in contact with you, but yet they want to have a relationship with you. They want to still be considered your friends. Um, what do you think um, is causing all this anger besides them not kind of hold not playing their role as a friend?
Um, I mean, I don't know. I never really thought about it. It really angers me. They were like my first friends made when I moved here. So like I didn't really branch out to any other people. Like we were kind of like the outcasts of our school. So we all kind of stuck together. So I was like, cool. Like everyone talks about those friends that you keep after high school, and so I was like, all right, well, now I'm having all these issues, and I like didn't talk to anybody else. So I always stuck with this group. And so it really like angers me and like peeves me off, like when I think about how they're like just acting so indifferent towards me, almost like hypocritical. So I try to do something, or I won't do something, but they don't do the same thing either. But they get mad at me for the same thing they're not doing, such as contacting or reaching out if I'm like in the area or something like that. So it like I don't know, it just really, oh sorry, talking about it just kind of builds up a lot
Mm-hmm.
for me. But it just, it's really, I don't know, irritating, angry. Um, I mean, I really don't know how other way to explain that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can tell that it's very hurtful for you.
Mhm.
That you seem to have lost that friendship with them, and I can tell that it really means a lot to you. Um, but what does that anger look like?
Um, well, like I said, I mean, at first, I try not to let it bother me. So I'm kind of like, all right, well, whatever. They want to just be, stupid about it. So I'm just going to let them be stupid about it. And then time will pass, and then I see that they're hanging out. And then I start to get angry, and I kind of just feel my chest tighten up, and I'm just like, I clench my jaw all the time, and I just get an irritated attitude with everybody. I've been told, like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? And it's like, nobody could have done anything. I just saw one picture of, like, everybody together at, like, someone's house in town, and I'm like, wow, like, all right, thanks. And so then everything just kind of builds really quick.
Mm-hmm. And when you see that picture of them together and you're not there, what does that do to you? What do you start to think?
I just kind of feel left out. You know, that tend to tends to be where I guess it leads to is I tend to feel left out. Kind of like I guess I wasn't important enough for them to give me a call, or I thought, or maybe I valued my friendship with them a lot more than they clearly valued the friendship with me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what it is. I just kind of feel lesser than them. I don't feel on the same level.
Mm-hmm. And when that happens, how do you typically react? What are some of the things that you end up doing as a result of that emotion of anger?
I hold a lot of it in. Um, and then, like I mentioned earlier, I kind of give everybody else an attitude. And I'm just like, kind of like that, oh, I'm pissed off at the world type thing. Like, everybody sucks, don't talk to me. Um, I feel like I act more on impulse. Like, if I wanted to go and hit something, I probably would go and hit something. Or if I felt like just throwing something, I've thrown my phone a couple times. Like, throw it, see the picture and throw it. Or, so I mean, I guess that's kind of the way it's expressed.
You mentioned that you start to take your anger out on everybody else. Um, do you notice that's a result of feeling left out by another group?
I mean, I think so, and I don't know if I do it because I feel this way with one group, so now I'm just like I want to push everybody away because I'd rather just if they're gonna do it and they're supposed to be my friends, then other people are gonna do it. So I might as well just close everybody out, type of thing, and give everybody an attitude so that I feel better. I guess I don't know.
Do you feel better?
No, no, I don't.
How do you feel?
Uh, I mean, I guess it makes me feel a little bit worse. I end up like becoming really irritated with myself and like angry at myself for reacting to other people who don't even like have a say or a part in what's going on. Um, like it's not their fault that my friends want to be, dumbasses. It's
Mm-hmm.
not their fault that my friends aren't contacting me, but yeah, I treat everybody as if it is their fault. And yeah, that just at one point it just makes me feel kind of low.
What do you think about yourself based on the fact that these people are not your friends? Um, what goes on?
I mean, I hate to say that I think that I base my personal value on them, but I guess in this particular situation, I kind of do. Like I said, I kind of feel lesser than them, and then I feel like I'm lesser than a bunch of other people. So if I'm going to be less than everybody, I'm already thinking people don't really like me, or I'm clearly doing something wrong because I can't keep a friendship or something like that. So I just kind of say, well, I might as well, I guess, just be angry with everybody, be irritated with everybody, because then I know why I'm being treated a certain way. Like, I know it's obviously my reaction to something that's causing it.
Do you think not able to hang out with you? Does that really say that you're not worth it?
Um, Again, I try not to think of that, but sometimes I just feel like, all right, well, I guess that's it. I mean, they don't want to hang out with me, so why would somebody else?
Mm-hmm. What do you try to tell yourself so then to change that thought in order to not feel so angry? Because I sense that there's a lot of anger towards other people, but it sounds like there's some anger towards yourself as well.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I try to think of, like, I have kind of like a couple groups of friends, I guess. So, but those friends kind of that I do have a couple people in my life that, you know, are, I guess, there for me and do actually value time. But I don't know why with this group in particular. I don't know if it's because it's like the majority of the group, or what's the case, or if I felt like I've just bonded so well with them and then it just seems like, everything kind of just turned upside down.
What were your expectations about this group? Because you said you're not sure what it was. what were you, or what did this group mean to you? What did this group of friends mean to you?
Um, well, with some of them, I mean, I wasn't super close with all of them. So there's a few people that I'm just kind of like, well, I was never close with them. I don't really care about, not that I don't care. That just sounds awful, I guess. But it was not as much, like I was like, okay, well, I never had a really close relationship with them, so it's okay that I'm not really talking with them. But like with a few others, um, we did I don't know, I guess a lot of stuff together. And like, I always was like, hey, like trying to have their back. And they always tried to have my back, during some really tough times. They were like, hey, come on over. Like, you can stay here or whatever the situation was. Like, they were always pretty open, like, to just kind of helping me out when I needed it. And I've always tried to do the same for them. Um, so I guess, I mean, I was expecting them to kind of stay like that, and that didn't end up happening.
Sounds like change is very difficult. When you also had a really good relationship with these people, and from what you're telling me, you felt like this was going to be a long life friendship, and seeing that it hasn't been, um, how has that made you feel?
Mm, I mean, I guess at one point I just kind of feel low. I mean, I guess it kind of started because, I had moved over here from the East Coast, so I didn't know anybody. And then, after I started meeting some people at one school, then we got moved again, and then I went to another school. So these were the friends that I met at this school. And then, I mean, it just kind of hurts. And then I guess I ended up just getting really angry and frustrated that I didn't end up with those friends that, seems like I'm going to keep being friends with after high school ended.
Mm-hmm. So this was the first group of friends that you felt accepted when you came into a new town, a new environment, not knowing anybody?
Yeah, I guess that's pretty spot on.
Do you think that might have also affected, or caused you to feel very angry that they were such a big part of when you moved here in the very beginning?
Yeah, I could say that kind of leans in that direction. Yeah.
And when you, or how else do you communicate that anger, um, with others?
Mm, I usually, well, I'll communicate it like I said, throwing things or just becoming really angry, and I tend to not want to share, so I keep everything inside. Um, and then because I guess, I'm not telling anybody, when people talk to me, if I have an attitude, it's always like, well, what's wrong? Well, something's wrong, and I don't want to talk about it. So I end up just saying, like, nothing, like, leave me alone. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave now. I'm going to go somewhere. Just so I can go, be by myself somewhere, go for a walk or something like that, and just not have to hear anybody ask me questions like, why are you so angry? Why are you so bothered?
So how does how does um, that intensify your anger?
I think it definitely makes it worse, um, to the point that I don't know. It just builds, and I just feel like crap.
Oh, so you feel like crap?
Yeah, yeah.
And describe to me what feeling like crap is.
I just I end up not wanting to be around anybody. I just want to deal with my own stuff on my own. I don't. I rather just be alone, and and then I just kind of think, and I'm dealing with, okay, on one hand I'm angry, and then on the other hand I just feel kind of hurt. So
Oh, so you feel hurt also.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that feeling of hurt because of the loss of friendships.
Um, I mean, I don't really know how to, I guess, talk about it. I just kind of, it just bothers me. I just feel like I was kind of left behind in a way. So, I mean, those are the thoughts that come afterwards. Like, not in that moment, but then, like, if I think about it, then it builds into anger. And then since I'm not wanting to, be around anybody, and I'm just kind of thinking to myself, well, you know, well, they suck, so just forget it. Then it starts to bother me even more, and then I just feel really hurt. I'm just like, well, you know, I think it goes back to I guess just talking, you know, about myself and like, well, you know, you must suck or, you know, whatever that thought might lead to.
And do you believe that all those negative thoughts are true?
Sometimes, probably
What,
more often than not.
what are sometimes when you start to believe those thoughts are true about yourself? And what does that do to your self-esteem?
Um, well, I guess when it starts to happen, I mean, it keeps me from wanting to talk to anybody new. Really, like I'm just like, well, I'm not gonna want to get close to anybody because it's gonna happen again. You know, I'm gonna just get real close to people, and then something is gonna mess it all up, and then I'm just gonna not have those people. So then I'm like, you know, why go through all of that again when I can just not go through it at all?
So how does avoiding those friendships help you?
Doesn't.
It doesn't?
Because then I'm alone, and then it just sucks. Because then I'm not doing anything, and I just kind of feel like, well, all right, I'm just kind of here.
And what does reinforce to you that you are important and that you can have friends and that friends do care about you?
Um, well, like with my other friends, like I said, when you know they'll call me up or like send me a message and say, hey, you know, like I'm in town this day, like you, and they'll tell me like in advance, like they won't tell me like the day of. They'll tell me, hey, I know I'm gonna be in town like next weekend or 2 weeks from now, so why don't you, why don't you hang out and you know we go get something to eat or we'll do something like that, and I'm like, all right, like you know that's cool, like I'm free, or if I'm not free I'm like, okay, let me make arrangements and like let me just see if I can switch this for something else, and then you know then we'll definitely meet, and they're like, oh okay, cool. So you know I guess those other friends I have kind of help me feel better because like I said, even though we don't talk for a long time, it always seems like we've never stopped talking when we do hang out.
And how do you feel when you are being included and they are doing their best to maintain that friendship and that shows that they value you?
I definitely feel better. You know, I feel like I can trust them, and you know, I've been able. These are also a couple friends that um, have been there for me throughout. You know, through a bunch of stuff, and we're always like, hey, like, you know, they were open with me in ways that they would tell me like, well, I've never been able to open up that way before. Like, I have one of my friends who, he's this like really tall, big dude, and every time we hung out, like he would say, okay, I have to talk about some serious stuff.